Here's Johnny! Or Rhett with glasses. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are learning how to play The Shining. Perhaps you've heard of the movie. Well, much like Jaws, the board game that we played, Shining is a board game based off the movie. It's a famous Stephen King book that was turned into a movie, which The Shining does a great job of encapsulating the terror that comes with the movie and has this sort of foreboding, who do we trust, who don't we trust aspect to it. Now, you don't have to play where there is a social deduction element, but where's the fun in that? Today I'll be teaching you how to set up, how to play, and how to win The Shining board game. First things first, set the board game out onto the table. Make sure it's within reach of everyone. We will be today setting up for a 4-player game. You're going to take up the Shining deck here and you're going to shuffle it all together. You'll notice that they have numbers on them. Those numbers are important, and we'll get into those with the play aspect of it. But you'll shuffle these up, set them aside to the side of the board, as well as the event cards. You're going to take those up, shuffle them up, set them to the side of the board. Also, you have all these tokens here. This is your willpower pool. So what we're going to do is you look on the board here. You can see several places where it says 4 to 5 players and 5 players. You're going to take these willpower tokens and you're going to put them onto the spaces face up, honestly. And you're going to cover up every single circle that is a full, complete circle, not this dotted one. You're going to fill those up. And once you've done that, then you're good on that step. Set the dice within reach. Everyone chooses a color to start with, so we're going to choose a 4-player game, so we'll exclude white for this. The month tracker goes here on the 1. Everyone who is playing gets a health token, 3 of them, matter of fact. So there's 1 for 1 player. All the player markers go into the office to start the game. The instructions say as far as who starts the game, it's random. So what we usually do is we roll off, and whoever has the highest number gets this room 237 keychain. So that will go to whoever is player number 1. As far as the willpower pool goes, you are going to draw 13 tokens per player in the game. So we'll count that up. So you're going to choose 13 willpower tokens per player in the game, and then once you've done that, then you'll take those and set some out onto the board. Next thing is you're going to go to the Shining deck here, and you're going to draw 2 cards per player. They will not look at them, they will just have them next to their health tokens. And make sure they do not look at them. It's imperative that they don't look at these cards. Trust me, you'll have players who try to look. Look at you, Hannah Hobson. Last thing you're going to look at are these roll cards. If you're playing with the corrupted variant, which, let's be honest, you should be playing with the corrupted variant. You are going to include it into this 5, and you will take 1 out. To make sure you have 1 for each amount of players. So we're playing with 4, so we have 4 cards. 1 of them is the corrupted. You'll shuffle these up, and then you'll deal them randomly 1 to each player. Only the player who gets the card will look at their own card. Once we've done that, we have set up for the game. We are ready to jump in. So, things to know about this game. Each month takes place with 2 different segments in there. First is just the play segment where you're moving around the board doing things, and then the second segment is the Shining phase. It's important to know the difference before we get into the how to play aspect of this. Alright, so everyone's got their cards and stuff. They'll look at them. They'll see what they are. They're either the caretaker or the corrupted. In order to win as the caretaker, you need to survive all the way through month 4 or month 5 if you're doing a hard mode. If you are the corrupted, if any caretaker dies, you win. So you just need to make sure that someone dies. Doesn't matter who, doesn't need to be all of them, just needs to be one person from the group. So these on the backside have numbers from 1 to 3 on the 1 to 3. So it could be a 1, it could be a 3. And then this other one has 2 to 5, so it's anything from 2 all the way up to 5. This is important to know for the Shining phase, which we'll get to in just a moment. So, that's what you have. You have 3 health here. If you lose all 3 health, you die. End of the game for you. End of the game for the good guys. Moving into the gameplay. So, what's going to happen first is whoever is the first player is going to look at the event card and play it before anything else happens. So, important things to know for this are the colors that are on the top of it. They're either green or purple. First off, there's the moving phase in which you're moving around the rooms, doing actions that are in the rooms. And you can do that for either 2 or 3 rounds before we go into the shining phase. So you notice that this is green up top. Every round we're going to draw an event card. Once we have 2 events that are matching in color, then you know at the end of that round, then we will go into the shining phase. So that means the shining phase could happen after 2 rounds, or it could happen after 3. So for instance, we flip over this first one and we're going to do whatever this card says. Each event card has its own thing that works towards the game. So this one is pretty good to have for the beginning of the game. It says, remove 1 willpower token from the pool for each weapon token possessed by all players. Now currently, no one has any items, so nothing would be taken from here. However, if that would have pulled on, let's say, the 3rd day when you had a couple of knives in your possession, then it would take away from this willpower pool. And that's important because this is where you get your resources. In order to fight off becoming corrupted by the Shining, you need to have a power on these cards that exceeds the number that are on your Shining cards here. But also, once this willpower pool is depleted, then you will take more damage whenever you are hit. So instead of taking 1 life, you'll take 2. Which is catastrophic in this game because once you're out of 3, you die, your team loses, if you're the good guys. So we pulled this, that has gone into play. Next thing has happened is whoever is the starting player, let's say this is blue, we're going to go in this order. Blue will now have their turn to do whatever they want. They can move 1 space and then do whatever is in the action. They can also move more than 1 space. However, for every space that they skip, so let's say blue moves all the way to the kitchen on their first turn, but they skip the gold room, then 1 willpower token is taken from this and thrown out of the game. Which this you do not want to go to 0, or try to prevent it as much as you can. So honestly, it's a little bit suspicious to jump all the way to there at the beginning. However, you do have one person who is trying to deplete all of these to make it easier to kill people. And that is the corrupted. Blue's going to take their turn. They're going to move to one of these rooms. You will notice when moving, you do see this elevator here. If you were moving into the elevator, you would roll this die. And as long as that die is anything but the elevator, you're fine. If the elevator comes, if the elevator is shown on the die, then you lose 1 heart, which is dangerous. So the elevator is a bit of a gamble. This is only on 1 of the 6 sides, so odds are you won't get it, but if you are like me and unlucky, you probably don't want to run that risk. Each of the rooms say what they do on the bottom of them, so I'm not going to go through and explain every single one of them. Things to know that are important, though, is the hedge maze. The hedge maze is good because if you think someone is about to become corrupted, then you might want to send them to the hedge maze so that they don't hurt anyone. So on your turn, what you're going to do is you're going to move to a room and do whatever the action says. For instance, the gold room says, take the highest token from those available. So you're going to take this 3-powered knife, and you're going to add it to your collection. Then it moves to the next player, and that's it. That's your turn. It's pretty easy. There are different strategic elements about where you might want to go. Good things to know are the office. You get to look at the top card of the event card and look at it and read it. And if it's particularly bad, you can send it to the bottom of the event deck. Or you can just leave it on top. It goes all the way around till it gets back to player 1. They will flip another one of these event cards and they will put it into effect. This one says choose 1 player and let them draw a shining card. So that is particularly bad. So let's say they chose him. We're going to go into the shining phase. The shining phase, once we've drawn enough event cards that have a matching color, so now we have 2 purples. After the 3rd round, we'll have one drawn each round. After the 3rd round, then we'll go into what's called the shining phase. And this is where we'll go one at a time around the board. So let's move people into different places here. So we drew some random tokens. They would have picked them up from the board, and different places allow you to get some. So they would have had drawn their boards, and we're going to see how it goes. So for the Shining phase, what you're going to do is you are going to look at your 2 cards, and you're going to flip them over and see what the total amount is. So for player 1, he has a total of 5. However, he only had 4 total. Now I'll explain what these tokens do. Any of them that are weapons that have a numeric value on it, that's just whatever the numeric value is. So this is a 3 power. If you see any that just have a number on it, it's just a 2. So, 2 plus 3 if they had that. The little whiskey tokens here, they're a multiplier. So if you have multiple of them, they times themselves. So if you had 2 of them, that would be 4 points towards the Shining total. If you had 3 of them, it would be 9. 4 would be 16, for instance, which I don't think it's possible to get 4. So with this, they have 3, and this is only 1, so that's 4. So they only have 4, and they needed 5. They have to meet or exceed this total amount. So what happens then is the blue person is corrupted. So what they'll do now is they will move to the nearest enemy they have, which unfortunately is red here. They cannot take the elevator, so they couldn't go up here and go to the caretaker's office. They have to move to the nearest room. So they'll go to red, and they will attack red. So what they'll do now is they'll roll both of these die, and they'll deal damage. Okay, so this is 1 point of damage. If this is a weapon that matches a weapon in your possession, that also does a damage. So this is 2 points of damage to the red player, who we're going to say is this player here. So that's 2 points of damage. They're almost dead in 1 bad round. Next player's turn is red. They have a whole 3. Not looking good for them. So we're going to flip this over. They had exactly 3. So that's 3. So they met it, so they're good. They do not attack, which is particularly bad because player 2 is the corrupted. So that's bad for them. Then we go to player 3, who we're going to say is the purple player here. They are particularly in rough shape because they have 3 whole cards here. So we're going to flip those. 2, 4, 2. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. However, they had 3 of these whiskey tokens. That's 9. So they actually staved off the corruption element. These now get thrown out of the game. And then we'll go to the last player. The last player here moved themselves into the hedge maze. So even if they were corrupted, they would not be able to re-enter into the home. And that's the great thing about it. If you know someone is weak and could possibly die, you could move them into the hedge maze to protect them. If you know someone is corrupted, is going to be corrupted by the Shining phase, then you can move them to the hedge maze. If you think someone's going to be corrupted, you can move them to the hedge maze. And that ensures that they won't attack anyone. So let's see what their totals are. They have a total of 2, 4, and 5. However, they drew a big 10, which is pretty much the worst you can have in this. So that's 10, so they are definitely corrupted. However, they run around the hedge maze and there's no one to attack. And so they are safe and they don't hurt anyone. So, once that is done, all of these tokens that are spent, any that you have are taken and then put out of the game. And then the round token marker moves to the next player, and then game continues into the next month. One thing for your note is once something is taken from the board, it is not replenished. The only place that items replenish is the Colorado room because 1 is added, and that's what this little circle space is here for, and then 1 is taken. So these just slide down, and then you add another one every time you go there. So that's how a round works. You'll do that 4 times, 5 times if you're feeling a little adventurous and want to play that. But once you've gone all the way through each month, if a player dies, the corrupted wins. If they get all the way through 4 or 5 months, depending on if you're playing easy mode or advanced, if you go through 4 months, then the caretakers win. So that is how this game works. That's how you set up. That's how you play. That's how you win. And this has been The Shining. Like, comment, subscribe if this video helped you. Feel free to share as well. And we'll catch you next time because all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And that's the way we roll. Blah.